Here we are again. Good morning. It is a Friday morning. And to tell you the truth, I thought that last little video that I did, I thought I cut it off. I thought I deleted it because it just went on, and I'm not really happy about that, the Quran. But anyways, bringing some of these things to light that we find very simple, very simple. And for you guys that are new, basically, you have to understand that there's an outside and an inside thing. There's the actual earth and the world around us, of course. But in the Bible, earth is basically your lower mind and our body itself. This is earth. This is it. All right. It also represents the physical. All right, that's the idea of God. He's both physical and he's also this idea of the invisible. So together, this male and female energy, one is seen and one is unseen, work the mind and the body. And what our mind and our body does reflects on the outside world. It's just the way it goes. That's how it works. That's why there's this law to try to keep things in balance. But you have to go outside of yourself and keep things in balance. The outside world is hell. Very little beautiful or truthful things happen out there, but in itself, nature on its own is beautiful. Nature in many different forms of change and serenity and upheaval and quietness and stuff like that. This is basically life, and our minds are like this too. We go from quiet times to, all of a sudden, the whole world falls apart around us and stuff. And basically, the way the Bible works is that we'll get no salvation from the outside. It all has to come from the inside. But basically, it's what happens to us from the outside is the learning process of the works. And in our Bible does not say anything against reincarnation or having to relive a life or to live several lives. In fact, it does tell us pretty much that you have to keep doing this over and over again to get it right. And that's the idea of reincarnation. So my friend Sable, the idea of being reincarnated does not save someone, but it gives them the opportunity to do it again. Because you'll have to go back into our teachings and find out that that we are all separated from the Lord on purpose. That we have a vow that we have made with Him, making us all like Jesus. He was a Nazarene. And so, of course, I don't see him as a real person. Can't see him as a real person. I can't see someone coming up murdering and killing this guy and then turning it into a religion about some guy who sacrifices his life for us. This is an outside thing, and it can't help us. This is an outside development. Whereas everything that we do happens to do with our mind. It's a change of our mind. It's a rebirth of our mind. And matching both heaven and earth together so that this is your balance. So if it took 1 lifetime, 2 lifetimes, 10 lifetimes, 100 lifetimes for you to find this out, the information is all out there showing you how to do it. It becomes a discipline. So that whenever you want to do this, when you have to do this, you have to go inside and do it, because nothing on the outside can help you. Even when you go to a doctor, to a psychiatrist, he could probably show you your problems, but still it's your mind. It's something that you have to do on your own. They can't get in there and turn things around. You go to a psychiatrist and you say, "Oh, he made me feel so much better." He didn't do anything for you at all. He's just taking your money. Same way when they say that you go to the church, you go to this preacher, you go to a Pharisee and you talk to him and tell him things, and he puts his hands on you and he says you've been absolved of all your troubles. Nothing happens. They have absolutely no power. It's a lie. And it helps you out because it's some kind of a placebo because you believe and you think that actually helps you. Well, it may put a smile on your face, but it ain't doing shit for you. All right. All of these stories have to do with you wanting to do it from the inside. You have to go in the inside and clean the cup out. That's all it is. And so, yeah, and you take many, many years of your many, many lives. I'm not going to come back as Rick Worth. I'm not going to come back. Maybe I'll be this artist because it's things that you've learned through time. That's what it is. But if you want to be asleep forever and just follow, there's plenty of people in the world like that. There's plenty of people that do not want to change their lives. They don't even want to look at their lives. They don't want to understand why they act a certain way. And so this other side is off to them. You're not allowed on this other side unless you get everything lined up. All right. And that's your chakra systems. And that has to do with, how you treat people, how you think about people, how you think about life, how you treat yourself, what you do. There's this position that you take. If you're a religion, you're letting God be this thing. He's watching over us. He doesn't miss anything. Yeah, but you could hide his eyes from some things. But it's because of those things. It's because of those things that'll keep you from going on this other side, because you don't want to go through and get this out, understand why it is that you have this weirdness, why it is that you do this thing that you do. And so that's why these people on the other side, they want to change. They want this gone. They don't want to keep doing the same things over and over again. They want to change their lives. They don't want to fart around and keep batting up against the wall and being stupid, but they see hundreds of millions of other people doing it, so it's okay. There's a chance that sometimes you just want out. And so it was this time for me in this life. But whenever it comes down to you're going to visit your family in heaven, well, we're all family. You and me and everyone that don't even know each other. The soul is the family. The soul, the spirit. The spirit is the other side of us. It's the two, your solid side and the side that you don't see. This is the kid. You'd be the elephant, and this other guy would be, an elephant is a guy that doesn't have, and I'm playing this off of the animals that came from by Tuesdays. He brought unclean animals and they brought clean animals. So the unclean animal would be the elephant who never forgets, because it's always in there. But then this marsupial, this thing, there's also kangaroos, and this kangaroo is the parent that carries its kid. It's basically a kid, and that goes along with the story that there's your sidekick, there's your buddy, and he's inside. All right, so elephants and kangaroos. This is the idea of clean and unclean. All right, because he's got that second thing working for him, and when you are in your lower mind, when you're just worshiping the Father, you're in your lower mind, okay? And all you're really worshiping is yourself, all right? They've got it all backwards. They say you're worshiping God. No, you're just worshiping the self. When you go inside and change things around, clean up the inside, connect mother and father together, now you're worshiping God. That's all three put together, not just the Father. And that's what you get with Islam. All you get is Islam. All you get is the Father, because he tells us in the stories themselves that he reintroduced this favorite god of the time, this moon god. And he says, I don't want to take him away from you. I want to venerate him. I'm going to make him bigger, make him stronger, make him everything. But we got to get rid of his wife and his daughter. So here you are being left with just the elephant. There's no salvation because they don't have the female side of this. And believe me, I know what I'm going to get from this. Well, girl was always bad, and the girl, well, that's the way it looks on the outside, but she has to trick the guy. It's this idea that you have to be overthrown. You have to steal the inheritance that the elephant's going to get if you don't learn how to do this. You're supposed to inherit yourself. You're supposed to be this guy. You're supposed to be the one when it comes down to it, you know? So this idea of having God, and God is Elohim, and so that's mother and father, and so all we're worshiping is the Father by the surface of the texture. Father is really mean. Father can be awful. My father is all these things. You've got him physically made into a man that has emotions and stuff like that. In reality, that's the solid side. The beautiful inside, the beautiful part of God that brings everything together is solid like a rock, like they talk about it. It's unchangeable. You can't use your emotions on this and make it change in any way. It is solid, it is set, it is there. The only thing that moves is this physical side. All right, that spiritual side is set, and she is always there waiting for us, and that is a female energy. And it doesn't have titties on it. It ain't got no pussy on it. It's just a female energy. And that's just a positive charge, you know? So, yes, when it comes down to taking several lifetimes, it could take you forever. Only because the idea that the flesh is weak, it doesn't care. It wants to be told what to do. It doesn't want to be on its own. Just like you, Bertie, this idea of coming over here onto this other side brings it back to yourself. Are you not? Are you afraid of yourself? Are you afraid to have your own mind? Are you afraid to make your own decisions without putting it on God's head? You know, like whenever they put things in God's hands, that means they're doing absolutely nothing. All right. And they are also, when they put it in Father's hands, and that's the situation, you're just giving up everything to the devil, all right, to Satan. And you wonder why the music is the way it is, and the people are the way they are, and the politics are the way they are. You know, you just wonder, what am I contributing to? So basically, when the people are on this other side, when you get to be this other side, this enlightenment doesn't bring you any kind of extra powers or anything like that. It just brings you this discernment, which means that, you know, I'm not going to mess with that. You know, like I think one of the smartest things that I've got now is that I'm not going to stay up late at night and just invite any drunks into my life. I just don't need that. So I'm going to go about a different way. I'm going to go to bed early. All right. What's that's using some wisdom. But you know, you're inviting all these things into your lives, or you take them out of your lives. But it's something that you have to do on the inside. And this job, even when people try and try and try, you can't use it for any kind of betterment other than the self. You're trying to get rid of you. You're trying to make better you, and you become the person that you were meant to be. All right. And there's tons of people running around as what they call the walking dead, and they're only being led around, you know, from place to place. You know, this is what they do, you know, and they agreed with it. So that's their life, that's their reality, and they think that they're not making it up. They are. They're the ones that agreeing to this, and this is all about the mind. It has nothing to do with this outside world. It cannot save you. Only you can do that by using the tools that were built into us and the doctrine that was given to us to read and understand and to sow the seed correctly. And once you do that, you practice that. And you practice what you've learned. And this is godly practice. This is this idea of coming back home to the Lord and reconnecting to the source. That's all that is. And if it takes you 100 lifetimes to do this, well, that is granted to you. That's how it works. But when you finally had enough, you find this particular information out, you try it out, and if it works for you, great. If it doesn't work for you, then it ain't your time. You know, it's not for everyone. You may have in the back of your mind, you want to write a book about it, be a millionaire or something like that. You'll never get there. There's a part of you think you can't pull no wool over your own mind. You can't. You know, and with this energy kind of like it's inside of you and watching, you can't put nothing past this shit, you know. We use me as an example. I have gone through hell, and I have come through homeless times in the midst of all of this and had to hide it so no one could tell that you were homeless and stuff like that. But just keep on going, keep on trucking, always knowing that there was something there. Why did this happen to me? What's going on here? Why did this happen? Oh, why? It's because of this. That's because I do this, but I didn't hate myself because of these things. I smoked cigarettes for hundreds of years, sitting around in a giant ashtray, just totally screwing up my health and the environment at the same time, letting something have some real life control over me that I do nothing about. It's gone. It's gone. It's just gone. So whenever I think about the smoke, I was like, that was so awful. That was terrible. Yeah, no, it was bad, but it took me about 30, 40 years of my life to clean that shit out of me. It took that long. And if not, it would still be there. If it was considered to be healthy, it'd still probably be in my system. And as with my friends, as you go into this world, I don't need to have any superficial friends in my life. I don't need people who pretend they're one thing and they're someone else. And that's not my making up. They made up their own mind to get out of my life, which is just wonderful. Around the same time that I got bit by this wonderful little bug, it cleaned me out on the inside and on the outside. And I'm only growing, I'm only learning whatever's going to happen next. But it's basically to change your life. If you don't want to do certain things, if you didn't want, if there's the things that come against you are taken away from you. That's it. Nobody gets killed for you. Nobody's going to kill for you, and no one's going to kill you. All you are trying to do is reset the brain so that you're now functioning like the live and well human being that God made, what he created, you know. And these things couldn't happen without you being alive. There's no place to go when you're dead. I wouldn't know where you would go. If you, in the past, the way these stories work is that they become stars, and that way they become an influence constantly on Earth. So maybe that'd be interesting. Living forever and ever as a star, teaching constantly, subliminally to those people that are awake enough to catch up, to find out that, hey, there's a star up there named Rickworth that's got some kind. It's called Ricky. Maybe we'll call it Ricky. That's got a little light shining from him, and it unveils the truth, And that's just the way it goes. No one has to die to convey this story. That takes out the death of Jesus, all right? It takes him out from having to do this for you. It's symbolically that you die for him. You die for God. You die for yourself. You die so that you can be reborn. And this time, you're cooking with the Lord. So you got to understand that, now whenever I talk to the Father is this physical side, but it's mother and father. It's the whole thing, all right? Along with the child, you, the little child, the spirit, our soul. Our soul longs for this connection. That's why you're waiting forever and ever and ever and ever for Jesus to return to you from the outside. He will never return to you. The soul will wait for him forever because it's going by what the right side or left side of the mind is saying. It's saying, hey, said there in the book there that Jesus is going to come someday and he'll answer all your questions and things like that. Really? Really. One day, they've been waiting for thousands of years for him to come. And it tells you in the book, he says, you just don't get it. You're not going to grasp it when I come and see you. It's going to happen in theta. It's going to happen in the air. I'm going to have you, I'm going to meet you in the air, which is the third phase of consciousness. First phase is to get rid of earth conscious. First phase, where we are right now in earth conscious, trying to shut down earth, trying to shut down beta conscious, trying to get rid of hell. That's the whole point. And when this happens, You cross over into the second phase, which is water. Water is the truth. This is when you wash yourself and you get rid of the clothes. You don't have clothing on you at all. Get rid of your skin, because the only way that you can visit the Lord is in spirit. And so, and in truth. And that's what means the water and fish. Water and fish. Water is the truth. Truth and fish are individual truths, right? When we cast our nets over to the right side of the boat, we pull up 153 fish. There's 9. That's a 9. That's a 9 with a right hand reference. Fish, truth. We're out fishing. We're out fishing. The 2 boats were on the shore and the men were out mending their nets and stuff like that. That means they're out on they're having a powwow. No, it means that they're gone into their mind. This is not even them. It's the men of that boat are not home. They're out cleaning their nets. The idea also of fasting takes on 2 meanings. They've been fasting. They're going to keep food from their outside body. They're going to not eat anything and starve the outside of their body and emaciate themselves in some way or hurt themselves because of this. Maybe even get high on their own excrements in the process. And consider this what they mean by serving the Lord. And it's not. You have to starve the mind. You have to starve the body from the inside. And that's what it means to go into this meditation, this idea of fasting. Fasting is sitting still. This idea of not feeding the lower mind. That's just stop feeding it. That's the whole idea behind it. Stop being a sodomite. Right? Stop feeding from the lower. So, that's what that means. All right. So, for those people that have the ears to hear, let them hear. And those people with the eyes, well, you can read this. You can just absolutely read this and find out for yourself. The outside world is not going to save you. Only on the inside. Where God tells us his kingdom is located. He says it's inside of you and outside of you. All right? That's the vessel and what the vessel contains. All right? I love you. And like I said, we'll be back on this again. Salvation comes through understanding the word. Salvation comes from understanding this Bible. We are poisoned by the Bible. On the outside, it also becomes our cure. You have to understand that. If to know this is one thing, but to understand the idea that you have to take some of this into you as like anger or abrasiveness. This idea is meant to drag you across the rocks. It's meant to beat you up. It's meant to hurt you. For those people who really follow this thing, follow this thing called God, you have to learn its wrath. You have to be afraid of it. You have to be scared of it and still love it. All right? Because when people go this route and they venture off, they no longer believe in anything, well, then heaven's off base. There's no way of just, going down the road and falling into God. You just can't. That's not how it works. It is not open to everyone. It is all those ideas of there are many called, but very few are chosen. And that's basically how it goes. And it all evolves around you, your mind, your thoughts. And if you put your thoughts in God's hands, as in religion, then you're going outside of yourself, and good luck. Enjoy. That's poverty. That means you have no God connection to you. You are poor. And poor in the Bibles means you have no connection with God. All right, means you're in slumber and you can't hear things and you can't see things, and this is just where you're supposed to go. But you learn to read, sow the Bible correctly. This is its salvation, and so you look for this in things. Do you know that there's more salvation in Cinderella's story than there is in the entire Quran? One simple little story about the six geese or six gooses or six swans or six whatever. There is more salvation in that little story than there is in the entire 3 hour, 4 hours listening to the Quran. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you know that Jack and the Beanstalk carries more salvation in it than the entire book of the Quran? This is where you get your salvation, when you learn to understand what they are saying, not just know it. You have to understand it. Yeah, there is more salvation in the story about the Trojan horse story. There is more salvation in that than the entire book of the Quran. There is basically not one story within the Quran that gives you any hint of this God. No. God meaning three. All right. Because there's just one, there's just Father. And yeah, he might as well be just like the one that we worship here in Christianity. Might as well be the same entity that they worship over there in Islam. Not Islam, Judaism. And they are. They are all reading off the top of their books. There is only a top to Islam. They all are basically serving the Father. And so this is mankind, and that is Satan. Enjoy it. Enjoy your poverty. A lot of dead people out there, and this is how it works. All right? Go inside, bring yourself alive. Open up that well inside there and start drinking from it. And the whole world could be a little bit better for you. All right? It said it will be. It is. It is. All right? I love you guys. I'll be back here soon. It's early in the morning, and I just had a little bit of extra time. Love you.